enterprise. I had digital innovation for indirect investment into the island. By way of background, I joined Malta Enterprise after having worked in M&A. When I was working in M&A, I had a mandate to acquire companies within mainland Europe and the UK that were in regulated technologies, so we were looking at fintech, insurtech, and medtech essentially. 5 years ago, I joined Malta Enterprise to focus more on the digital side of things and to attract more and more companies in the digital space in Malta. As Malta Enterprise, we are the economic development agency of the country, which means that we try and identify those areas that will be more, let's say, beneficial, that will work mostly well on the island. So as you can imagine, nowadays we are focusing more and more on innovation, on quality investment, so we are no longer looking at numbers. We're no longer excited if someone says it's okay, I want to come over to the island and employ 100 employees. We are more looking after niche sectors that can come over to the island. Hence why our interest in startups, hence why our interest in companies that can bring over new ideas and innovation. Having said that, definitely the most interesting support that we have in place is targeted towards startups. One of which is what we refer to as the Startup Finance Scheme. The Startup Finance Scheme is a repayable advance, but it is only repayable once the company starts registering profits. So before registering any profits, there are no repayments that need to be made to Malta Enterprise. And even at that point, it's only 10% of the profits that one would need to pay back to Malta Enterprise. It is not a blank check that you can use for anything. Of course, there are certain eligible costs which we finance, and definitely our preferred mode of assistance is always to assist against payroll costs. That is because we know that to find talent and to hire talent, it is quite a challenge. That is why we are putting most of our support in supporting wages essentially. And for wage support, we can also co-finance up to 75%, which is the highest co-financing percentage that we have even under any other scheme. Even also, this particular scheme can go anywhere between €500,000 to 1.5 million for more interesting companies. So we have companies operating in biotech that have managed to secure the 1.5 million. We have companies that are doing, for instance, research on cancer vaccine research, and they also have managed to secure the 1.5 million. So the more innovative the company is, the higher our assistance is. Of course, if a company doesn't have, let's say, doesn't want to go into the debt which such a scheme would entail, there are also grants which one can access. One of the most, let's say, simplest of schemes to access is what we refer to as the Business Development Scheme, which essentially is a de minimis. It's a €300,000 grant, which one can utilize again to set up in Malta, to hire employees, to rent the office, and that's essentially get started. What one needs to keep in mind is that none of our schemes are financing 100%, so that is why there always needs to be some sort of private investment. Hence why platforms like Total Portal and private investment is very important to match with funding that is coming through government funds, essentially. As Malta Enterprise, we are managing national funds, not European funds, but then there are also other entities that are managing EU funds that you can, let's say, combine together, depending, of course, on which costs you are covering. So that is, let's say, in a nutshell, what is available for startup companies. But of course, in order to take the discussion further with any startup, the ideal thing would be to prepare a project brief, a small business plan, and then we can start the discussions accordingly, because we would need to look at the current financial position of the company and see which measures would best fit that particular company. So if anyone is interested, by all means, feel free to talk to me. Nora also has my details, and Thank you very much for your time.